Button. And we should be live. Hi, welcome back. We're on Uncanny
Magic
Adventures.
time.
Yes, we're here. Hey! Everything should be working, I hope. There should be sound, there should be video, the whole nine yards.
Unlike the world.
Well, I mean, that's still working, just, not in the way...
Limited capacity.
Yeah, limited capacity. But hey, we're all still here, so it's cool. Welcome back. We're back with our Beneath the Burning Sun Call of Cthulhu adventure. And, things are happening. Bank robbery happened. There was a lone bank robber who was shot, nearly killed, but is now recovering in the doctor's office. There was a posse formed to go after this group of outlaws who robbed the bank and kidnapped the mayor's daughter. And they rode into the hills together and came upon a grisly murder scene in the hills. Learning that the outlaws had a fort that they were sort of holed up in higher up in the mountains, the posse decided to go back to town, regroup, and try to come back out in force. So they headed back to town. They brought the one surviving member of this group that had been murdered back with them. He seems to have been a member of the outlaws, had his tongue removed. So he was writing down answers to questions and things when he was conscious. And now the group is back in town where they have been trying to gather some information, trying to gather some more arms and armaments, and Baxter's been doing his best to sort of find any advantage that he can get them as they decide to go back and try to deal with the situation that has arisen. So we're going to go around and say hi, and then we're going to jump back into it and see what they want to do, because I'm just as curious as everybody else. So we will go around, and we'll start with Baxter. Hi.
Hey, I'm Anashtavi, and I will be playing Baxter today. The group's front.
The lovable street starfish.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm trying to just kind of get us any upper hand we can get against them.
Excellent. And how about our Marshal Wallace?
Hi. My name is Theater Nerd. I'm happy to be here. Trying to exactly remember the Marshal's mood. I'm pretty sure it was not good.
But the Marshal got a kiss, I think.
That is true. That made it a little bit better, but she also did torture some.
You tried.
I
try.
I grabbed it. I did. Y'all just didn't let me keep going.
It's fair.
There's a those were actions she took. Those were things I did. But yeah, I'm excited to figure out what exactly we're gonna do, because this could literally be the end of the campaign tonight.
I mean, who knows? But yeah,
That feels optimistic.
Well, I'm just keeping it real.
I'd like to think that with Cthulhu, any session could technically be the end of a campaign.
I mean, that's fair. But this just feels like one of the first points where it really feels obvious.
That's fair. Well, on that note, we're going to go over to Samuel Smith and see how he's doing.
Hello. I'm Ray, and I'm playing Samuel Smith, who really doesn't want to get into a battle right now, but I guess since that's where we're going, he'll help out.
That's very fair. And we have our sister Michal, the woman of God.
Hello. I'm Joanna. I'm playing Sister Michal. I might be experiencing some technical difficulties because these are new headphones. And I'm just here to try and make sure that we don't all go to hell. Literally or figuratively.
That is very fair. So, as we fade back into the town of Shade, we have Marshal Wallace, Samuel, and Sister Michal, who are in the doctor's office here in town. There are currently 3 patients in the doctor's office. There is the young woman who is the daughter of the owner of the boarding house. There is the young man who was involved in the bank robbery and was shot in the bank while he was trying to make his escape. And there is the outlaw who lost his tongue, apparently to the leader of the outlaw gang, when he maybe spoke up against the killing of the farmers at the farm north of town. So you are all there, and the doctor is here as well. There was a little bit of a stressful situation there for a few minutes between the Marshal Wallace and this young fellow who she was trying to gather more information from. But you've learned quite a bit so far. You've learned that these outlaws are holed up in this fort. It's up in the upper mountains. It sounds like it's somewhat of a defensible location, hence why they picked it. You've also learned that the school teacher who you had been joined, he had joined you going up into the mountains. He apparently has some kind of relationship with a young woman from the local Navajo village that is on the way to this fort. So he may be able to give some introductions, and he seems concerned. He seems like he wants to go and check on them, considering the closeness of the village to this group of outlaws. And just otherwise, have been trying to just figure out your next steps. So what are you all doing in this moment as you're milling about in here and trying to figure this out?
So the only one who's not here is Baxter?
Yeah, Baxter wandered off somewhere.
That's about par for the course. So, what are you all thinking? Because I'm pretty sure it's not what I'm thinking.
I'm thinking I would prefer it if you didn't torture people.
I mean, that's fair, but sometimes that's the only way to get information.
Clearly it isn't, because I asked and got the information.
Well, you haven't dealt with all the shit I've dealt with.
I don't see how that's relevant.
I'm still standing by my earlier statement of sometimes you just have to do what you have to do.
Then let us agree to disagree.
I mean, we do that on a lot of things.
There are bees.
Yes.
Bees everywhere.
The beekeeper has a small set of beehives behind the doctor's office, and they seem to have gone and run amok now.
In New Mexico? I'm not going to question
Don't
that.
question
Okay.
these things. This is a different universe. It's fine. It all works.
Could be eaten by a squid man at any moment. And you're questioning bees?
And
I was more wondering what you all were thinking about our next steps. We've got to get the mayor's daughter back. And
Indeed.
it's probably going to mean a confrontation of some sort.
Is it possible we can do this with minimal bloodshed?
I feel like if we
covert
approach
mission, if you will.
I feel like if we approach the fort with any sort of numbers, which includes 1, we're probably being shot at.
But we were told of a location where the fort had either crumbled or some sort of way in that wouldn't be the front door. It's possible for us to, as a group, move in quietly, hopefully, rescue the person, and leave without any confrontation whatsoever.
Can you remind us of what we found out about the fort specifically?
I don't think there's any opening at all.
Yeah, I thought we found out that there wasn't, that it's like in a cliff face.
Yeah,
or
so-
a mountainside.
So you found out that the fort is sort of at the top of this mountain path It's in this like narrow valley inside the path. When you come in, there's like sort of an old ruin of a guardhouse that kind of it sits at the top of the path where they would stay and look down to kind of watch for people coming up. And then there is a rather large lake in the, like, takes up about maybe 2/3 of this sort of mountaintop little valley area. And the fort is on the far side. There's sort of a path on the right-hand side that goes all the way down to where the fort is. And there's like a crumbled opening in what used to be kind of the wall, the outer wall of it. And then the fort itself is set back from the lake, from this crumbled wall, a handful of feet. And it's kind of tucked in this corner with the back wall kind of goes up. And it's kind of built into the back cliff face of this little narrow mountain valley.
So even if we're sneaky, they have the vantage point. It's up on a mountain.
Also, that opening is guarded heavily, most likely.
Unless you're any good at climbing rocks, Samuel, or climbing mountains, I don't think there's any other way except for the path up to the front door.
I mean,
At least not that we've been told of yet.
Aren't you good at climbing rocks and mountains? You are a geologist.
yes, I am actually quite capable. It's just trying to think of a way that would incur the least amount of harm onto us and to others. But if you think it's not worthwhile pursuing this, then I guess we shall continue with this assault of the fort.
I mean, we could. I just don't know if all of us are capable of climbing rocks.
There might be an alternative. We could ask the members of the Navajo village that the school teacher, whose name that I can't remember because it's been a month,
His name was Henry Potts.
that Mr. Potts informed us of,
But why involve more people
including
in
perhaps his
our
lady friend.
quarrel? That's just more people who can end up hurt.
Oh, shit. Anyone else hear Ray?
Yes.
Fuck.
Technical difficulties. It's a streaming thing. Every time. Can you hear us now?
Can you hear me now? I can't say good yet.
5, 4, 3, 2,
Meow.
1, 0.
Okay.
Hey, we're
Sorry
back.
about that, everybody.
No worries. I like to think that the sisters like having intermittent like hearing issues. Just kidding.
Already?
Yeah, already it happens. Happens to the best of us.
I think she lost it again.
Oh no. Where's the Zoom chat? I want to ask a question. Oop, that's not the Zoom chat. That's a different button.
Hello?
Hello?
Hello.
Hello, hello. .5mm jack. Oh, now I'm dropping everything.
That's just the standard headphone jack.
Yeah. I know that my Bluetooth headphones came with one of these so that I could attach it to...
Usually they do.
Yeah.
Oftentimes they do.
So I could plug it in if I needed to.
Assuming your phone has a headphone jack, because mine doesn't.
Oh.
I had to buy I bought like 5 million different adapters.
Gotcha.
Some of which worked with my old phone and didn't work with my new one.
Gotcha.
This is why I only use wire equipment.
Mm-hmm.
It's not always ideal.
Okay, using
Hi.
my earbuds.
Hi,
At least I have those.
You can hear us now?
Yep.
Yes.
Sorry about that, everybody.
No worries. These things, they happen.
It's fine.
Gotcha. So, yeah, so what do you all want to do? What is your plan?
Well, I think we should check on the Navajo village before making any decisions as to what to do next, because they may know another way up the mountain that's possibly less traveled.
Sounds good.
I think that would be a good starting point.
I'm just concerned our vigilante friends are gonna go do whatever the heck they want.
Dr. Peaster looks up and he says, yes. Mr. Martin, he doesn't take too kindly to the town marshal's opinion. In fact, the last one just sort of let him do whatever he wanted. And he's been a little angry that Marshal Otis won't just give him the same kind of ability to kind of manage things and leave it up to him and his posse of vigilantes.
Oh, I'm kind of happy that Marshal Otis is trying to keep a hold on our pal George Martin.
Mr. Martin's a tough one to kind of keep under your thumb, believe me.
I know, and that's why I'm concerned he's going to go do whatever the heck he wants, regardless of what the Marshal says.
He very likely will. I will say that, I've heard you talk about looking for numbers, but I'd be careful. If George Martin comes back with numbers, don't forget. Now, you'll all be in the minority of decision-making at that point.
Maybe we could ask him nicely.
Yeah, okay.
That was sarcasm.
Anyway, I think we should venture on, and if he decides to go get people killed, he'll decide that regardless of what we tell him. So
you do have a good read on him, if that's your take.
I usually have a pretty good sense about people.
Well, that's good to know. Do you need anything else with my patients? I'm going to rebind that wound that you've seemed to have opened up there on the young man.
Yeah, that wasn't. I'm under a lot of stress. I apologize, Doctor.
Yes, not your finest moment. I understand.
Oof. I mean, he's not wrong, but oof.
He's not mad. He's just disappointed.
Oof. Ouch. Ouch. Twist the knife a little more. I stabbed into my own chest.
Don't worry. By adventure's end, someone else may stab you, and you don't have to worry about it. Just kidding.
Well, that's how you stay in business, right, Doctor?
Indeed.
I think we should go and let them all rest a little.
Would you like a moment to say goodbye to Julia?
Yes.
Julia looks kind of over in surprise at Sister. Nods. The doctor walks over and sort of kind of puts this curtain between the beds where Stevens and Cherry Hill are, and sort of goes about starting to unwrap to rebind this wound.
Mr. Smith, or is it Dr. Smith? Forgive me. I can never remember.
Sure. I don't actually know. We'll just say no for now.
Mr. Smith, I think we should politely excuse ourselves for a few moments.
We shall find our troublesome youngster.
Indeed, our prodigal son.
And quickly, Marshal Wallace, you are left where you're mostly alone with Julia Reedstrom.
I'm going to make it back alive, no matter what we decide to do.
Well, I hope you will. I almost want to ask you not to go, but that poor young lady is in mortal danger, so I'm not going to do that.
Famous last words.
Yeah, I mean, even if you asked me not to, I'm going. I just hope you understand that about me.
She gives you a smile and she says, "Actually, it's one of the things I like about you. You're not going to be swayed from what you think is right."
Yeah, I apologize about my not fine hour earlier, by the way, also.
Well, it wasn't the best choice, but and she kind of looks over and he did shoot me. So I can't be entirely angry about what you did. He could have killed me.
Some would say that was maybe not within the law, just maybe a little. Not.
She takes your hand and she pats you on the back of the hand and she says, "Just take a deep breath. You're under a lot of pressure from everything that's happened, and just be careful and think before you do things, please."
Yes. Which is why we're going to visit the Navajo village before assaulting a fort that will probably get everyone massacred.
Oh, I've never been there myself, but I've heard that they're really good people there. So hopefully you'll be able to find some help.
I hope you're right.
Well, I don't want to keep you. That little girl needs you now more than I do, but I expect you back in a few days, if not sooner.
She just nods, and I think she will stand up. And she actually goes to the stable to start preparing her horse.
So
and avoid.
Dramatic walk out and just walk past the rest of the group that's standing on the porch.
Oh, I thought they went and.
Oh yeah, they're going after Baxter.
Baxter.
All right. So, but you're going to leave the doctor's office and you're going to head for the stables?
Yep.
Okay. Meanwhile, Baxter, while everyone else is making their way out from the stables and or from the doctor's office to do their various things, you were heading to the Rattler's Nest in search of one Samuel McCready, who is the town's blacksmith. And you find the Rattler's Nest fairly easily. It's toward the northeastern side of town, kind of set on a side road. And when you get there, this little single-story dive bar that's in very poor condition, you walk through the door, and you can immediately pick out Samuel, who is a very tall, very muscular fellow. He is now dressed. When you saw him at the blacksmith shop, he was just wearing kind of like what looked like would be his work clothes. And now he's sort of sitting and he's dressed in a much nicer, set of slacks, a nice button-down shirt. He's wearing sort of a vest over the top. He's got a nice black hat on, and he is nursing a drink and sort of having a conversation at a table, and there's a couple decks of cards kind of stacked on the table.
I will go to him and read. What was his name?
His name is Samuel McCready.
Mr. McCready.
Oh, Baxter, right?
Yes.
Hello.
Yeah, I got confirmation from the Marshal.
Mm-hmm.
And I hope you are able to. And when you will be able to start your work.
Oh, well, yes. I did say I would get to that if you needed it, especially considering the situation that it involves. So, let me, do you drink, young man? I mean, you are about to go out on a very dangerous what would I call it, a rescue excursion tomorrow. I think that if you don't drink, perhaps you should have a drink with me, seeing as you could get
It might be our
shot.
last.
Yeah,
It
I
might
mean,
be
you
a
could get
glass
shot.
one.
These are dangerous times.
You know what? Let's take a toast.
He motions to the bartender, and they bring over a couple of drinks, and he throws down some money. And he looks up at the bar and he's like, Arthur McLeary, get yourself over here, young man. We're gonna have a drink. We're gonna toast this Baxter. He's volunteered to join the posse that's headed out to bring back the mayor's daughter. So I think the young man deserves a toast, don't you? And Arthur, who is the small, kind of skinny author, he writes the dime novels, and he was terrified of Boston the Gunslinger when he came in. He sort of looks up from his notepad at the bar, and he's like, Mr. McCready, well, you are a gentleman, sir. One for me, please, bartender. And he gets one and comes over and he says, hey, I remember you. You were here with that other group there.
Yes, the Marshal
Mhm.
sister and
The very educated fellow, the law lady, and the intimidating one there. Whew, that stare.
yeah, I know it well.
But well, you're a brave soul going on this you know, when you get back, because I think you're a smart fellow, I think you'll come back. If you want to sit down and regale me with the tale, I mean, we could make you famous. I can write a story for you. It's what I do.
I do like that.
I mean, who doesn't want to be immortalized in the pages of their own novel, right?
I gotta keep it in mind.
Well, here's to you, and the best of luck. Keep your head down and stay safe. And hey, piece of advice I always had into my novels: you're a smaller fellow, hide behind the bigger people.
Smart words.
Mhm.
And I, yes. Like raise a glass.
And McCready will toast, and he finishes off his drink, puts it down, looks at Arthur, nods, and looks at you and says, well, then, since I did promise, and he tips his hat, that I would get on this immediately, I'm going to take my leave this evening. He looks at the fellow who he was chatting with. He says, sorry, I'll have to take your money off you in poker another night. Just
Mr.
think...
McCready, before you
Yes.
go,
Yes.
you are just possessed just across the medicine show.
Ah, yes, the medicine show, yes.
What do you know about that man?
You know, he's an interesting fellow for sure. I've never purchased any of his wares. There's a few people in town who definitely swear that it's been a cure for headaches and pain and a bunch of other maladies that are going about. But honestly, my read off him as someone who I take pride in the idea that I'm pretty good at reading people is I wouldn't spend my money on his wares. I think that he's I think he's full of it, and I think whatever's in those bottles is just a bunch of hullabaloo.
A flim-flam comma artist.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Wait, where'd that voice come from?
It's me, Jesus.
Oh Lord, I better get to church. But no, I don't trust the fellow. He's I kind of think he's taken advantage of people who shouldn't be taken advantage of. I will say the other day, or earlier this morning, his show didn't go off so well. I saw him cleaning up. It's quite a mess. A bunch of broken bottles. He wasn't a very happy camper, let me tell you. Not sure what happened.
I'm gonna have to. Yeah, I take out the bottle. I guess I have to take a visit the doctor if he can verify any.
Oh no, you spent your good hard-earned money on that? That's a shame.
Mm. But yeah, no, yeah, but a good doctor might be able to tell us what exactly is in this.
Fair enough. Like I said, I just wouldn't put a lot of stock behind whatever that is. But I leave you to make your own decisions, my friend. So,
Yeah, and I pocket the medicine, and I actually gonna go to the doctor.
okay. So Samuel will walk you out, McCready, and he walks with you heading in the direction of the doctor's office as he has to go back through town to get back to his blacksmith shop. So as you, Baxter, and Samuel McCready you come out, you kind of walk out to the main road and you start down the main road. I would say you can see Samuel and Sister Michal have exited the doctor's office and are kind of coming to the main intersection of town, like right where the doctor's office and the Silver Shaft Saloon kind of sit on opposite corners. So you see them kind of down the block. And you two have come to the middle of the intersection and you look around and you see Baxter and this tall, dark-skinned, muscled fellow in a really nice dressed, shirt, vest, and his hat kind of high on his head, strolling back down the main street heading in this direction.
Hello, Baxter.
Hey, this is Mr. McCready, and he will help us. He will make us. He will armor up our caravan.
Hello.
Hello.
Ma'am, sir. Samuel McCready. I'm the local blacksmith in Shade. Nice to make your acquaintance.
Nice to meet you. You say you're going to help us out. I'm assuming not for free, of course.
No.
Yeah.
Young Baxter here and I have worked out dealing with the cost and things like that of taking care of this.
All right.
I see. What manner of deal would that be? If I may be so bold as to inquire.
I have to ask Marshal about that.
Yeah, Baxter here is since this is for the posse to retrieve the mayor's daughter. The funds are probably going to come from either the mayor's coffers or the town's going to pay for the service. So.
And I assume you asked before making this claim?
Of course.
Wonderful.
So I'm gonna sort of reinforce one of your wagons, the wagon that you're gonna take with you tomorrow. Just give it a little bit of extra protection from bullets and things of that nature. Give y'all a fighting chance in case you get ambushed or anything on the road and things like that.
That sounds very sensible. Thank you for your help.
Well, it was this young man's idea right here. I'm just gonna take my skills and put them to use to take care of it.
Interesting.
I'm sorry, I didn't get your names. And he looks at Sister. Yeah, you are.
Sister Christian. What is the Christian?
I am
Like-
Sister Michal.
Michal.
Pleasure to meet you.
And
I'm Samuel Smith.
Yes.
Well,
Is it Dr. Samuel Smith? Do you have PhD?
We never figured that out of game, but I've been going with no.
he smiles and he says, "Well, your name I won't have trouble remembering, sir. It's a good name.
Likewise.
Thank you." Well,
Yes, a good, strong biblical name. Very popular.
it is. Yes, indeed, it is. It's very much so, ma'am. But I am going to take my leave. I have a lot of work to do, and it's going to be a long night for me. So I will leave you, Baxter. Since you found your friends, I will make my way back to my shop. And where are you staying? I'll send word in the morning when everything's all said and done.
Be at the what was the place?
You and Samuel and the
boarding
sister. Well, Baxter, Samuel, and the sister were staying in the church.
We were staying at the.
Yeah.
How's that
we are
going?
saying that- Wasn't he the that went off insane?
No, the priest has been fine. There was a couple of prospectors staying at the boarding house, and one of them lost it and tried to drown himself in the trough across the street.
Yeah, I think there was a reverend that was evil.
You have heard about this
father.
reverend, who apparently the town's priest
never
is
met
not
him.
fond of. None of you met him. You heard tell of him, and he is apparently the one that's leading this gang of outlaws, from what you've been able to gather.
Yeah, we are saying at the church then.
Yep. So Reverend Smythe is the name that you've gotten for this other fellow.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Can always trust a man with the name Smythe.
Smythe. Doesn't sound shady at all.
No.
No, not at all.
What do you talk?
And Samuel McCready starts walking down the street. As he walks away, Marshal Wallace, you have walked out of the doctor's office shortly after the others, and you're coming up the road to the intersection, and you see Samuel, Sister Michal, and Baxter sort of chatting at the intersection of the main street as you're heading to go to the stables. And you see this tall, dark fellow just walking away down the street, heading back toward the southeastern or southwestern side of town.
Do I have to make some kind of roll so nobody sees me watching him walk away?
Actually, he would have to roll to see if he notices you watching him walk away. Do you not want him to notice?
No, I'm a Christian woman.
So you could just roll like a stealth check, and to give like
involve.
and then I will see if he rolls better. Ooh. Samuel, what is your spot hidden? All right. Let's see if he notices. Nope. This is a different game. I need a D100, not a D20. Nope. He doesn't seem to notice. As he walks away, it looks to you like he's already sort of working out this project and is kind of strolling away, hands in his pocket.
I bet it works out a lot.
This dude is he is built, and and he also he's the clothing is very well cut. Like he's had this like made. Like Samuel McCready takes care of his outfits and himself very well. So, what are you all doing? Marshall, you're sort of down the street a little bit, coming out of the doctor's office. You see the rest of your group. You have to, you could always turn and kind of go down like alongside the doctor's office and not go to the main street, sort of walk along the property line if you don't want to meet the rest of the group right now.
I want to avoid them.
Okay.
I'm feeling very emotional.
Okay.
Like, both like, oh my god, I'm so in love, but like I could break this girl's heart but simply just by doing my job, and I don't want to deal with anything other than my horse. Totally proper coping mechanism for
All right.
feelings.
Well, I'll say just roll me a stealth just to sort of slip down and away to see like if you can just sort of slip away without them noticing.
We then roll a spot hidden.
If you would be looking around, you could roll a spot hidden to see if you see them.
Nope.
All right. Ooh, a hard success. So Baxter does not see you sort of slip away. Sister Michal is not.
I always use the wrong one.
It's okay. It still rolls right. It's just different.
It's just extra.
So yeah, you do manage to sort of make your way sort of back and around the backside of the doctor's office and slip away. And you kind of shadow McCready back down the street as he's heading in sort of the same direction as the stable and the blacksmith shop are very close by each other.
Minding my own business.
Okay. So what are the three of you doing as you are milling about at this intersection? What's your plan?
Baxter will go to the doctor.
Okay. So Baxter goes down the street back toward the doctor's office where the rest of you just came from. What about Samuel and Sister Michal? What are you doing?
After Baxter walks away, I'm going to take just 5 seconds to lean over to Samuel and stage whisper, he was absolutely at the Rattler's Nest, right?
I'm not exactly sure. Do I recognize him from the Rattler's Nest?
No, Baxter.
Oh, yeah, probably. That boy is trouble. So what exactly is our plan here, seeing as we want to storm the fort, yet we're milling about, collecting things, and kind of aimless a little bit.
Indeed. Did we find out how far away the village is? Not the fort, but the village?
So, the village is, double check my note on that, is to do.
Fort was a couple of days.
Yeah, so the fort was 3 days away, and the village is 2 days from town.
In the same direction?
And you have to go very close to the village on the way to the fort. Like they're in the same direction heading north.
Okay.
It's beyond the stables, the ranch, and
yes.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Oh yeah.
I mean, if we're concerned with this girl's well-being, this is already quite a lengthy amount of time that we've left her with them, and quite frankly, the inaction is a little unsettling.
Indeed. Sloth, as they say, is one of the deadly sins. But unfortunately, I think, on the other hand, patience is a virtue. And I just sort of stare off into space for a second. And you probably hear under her breath, like, what's the difference? Excuse me, I was lost in theological debate.
I hope that you won't regale me with the details at this juncture, but maybe you've come to a conclusion?
I do not think that we can move earlier than the morning, as Baxter has acquired an armored vehicle. Unless
Sure.
we move in 2 groups.
Sounds as it's another plan. I don't know how worthwhile that would be. I mean, we could wait another day. It's just, are there any other supplies and whatnot we can gather in this time period, I guess, to make it worth the wait?
Indeed.
Surely one wagon isn't going to really change anything. We still have to exit the wagon and retrieve the girl and get into the fort.
Indeed, that is a lot of time spent out in the open, vulnerable to bullets.
Mm-hmm. And they are not nice to humans.
Unfortunately, no. A thought occurs to me. I wonder if it would be possible to investigate Reverend Smythe's possessions, if he has any in town. Surely he has to have been staying somewhere to hold his fire and brimstone sermons.
That might be actually worth it. Maybe there's something we can glean from that might help us out.
Indeed, like what in the world he's doing and why he is doing it. Perhaps what intentions he has for the girl.
Yeah, and a lot of the other stuff seems to be connected as well and pointing in that direction. So maybe there's more information to be gained.
It feels at the very least like something to make the passing of time worth it.
Sure. Shall we wait for the other ones? They seem to be scattered again.
I think we might have to leave them to their respective self-driven directives and give them the information once we have it.
Sounds like a plan. Okay.
Okay.
So where are the two of you heading off to as you come to this conclusion?
We're going to try and go to the Reverend Smythe's abode or wherever he's known to frequent.
Probably we'll have to ask around.
Did we hear that he had some sort of like location that he was in? Like,
so what you've heard of him is that he would show up and he would make his presence known in the drinking establishments in town. So he would pop in and he would show up at the Rattler's Nest, and he would also show up at the whatchamacallit, what's the other one called?
The Silver
Yes, the Silver Shaft Saloon. And he would start yelling about sin and fire and brimstone and how the world was ending and that this was the end of times. And he always carried with him his Bible. It was this black leather-bound book. It looked like it was pretty well aged. And he would like thump on the cover of it and wave it in the air to really like make his presence known. So he was just known for really making a spectacle of himself at the various drinking establishments. Occasionally he would show up at the boarding house if there was a good enough crowd, and he would do his whole shebang there. And he always liked to sort of get in a kind of back and forth with the town's priest to kind of just, he thought he knew better. He obviously came off, from what you've heard, he didn't come off so much as a Christian priest. It's kind of muddled as to what exactly his overall faith was.
The apocalypse?
Possibly. Timely now, but yeah.
Love to play a fictional game.
Always a good time. But you hadn't heard anything so much as like any information at this point of like if he had a residence in town. You heard a lot of that he would kind of come and go from town quite often. Like maybe he stayed somewhere outside the city limits.
Well, he would have to stay somewhere, at the very least, closer than the fort as a possible starting and stopping point, because that's 3 days out of 2 days out of. Is it 3 or 2 days?
It's 3 days to the fort from town.
So
3 days to travel and lecture.
Yeah.
And then 3 days back. Probably not a feasible thing.
No, not even for a man as intense and driven as the Reverend seems to be described as. So he has to have somewhere to hang his hat.
All right. Well, I know you don't prefer a saloon, but that's where the best information is gathered.
True. Off to the Rattler's Nest. Seems we and Baxter have traded places.
All right, so you head off to the Rattler's Nest. Baxter's heading for the doctor's office. Marshal, you make your way down sort of on the skirting the edges of the main road, kind of keeping to yourself. And before long, you make your way to Jansen's Livery and Stable, where you find the 17-year-old son of the owner, Arthur, is mucking out the stables as you sort of approach.
So I'm in the stable now, or I can see him through the door?
Yeah, as you sort of come up to the door and you can see inside the open door, and he's in there just sort of mucking out one of the stables and just doing what looks like his daily kind of chore routine at the moment.
And do I know where my horse is being kept?
Well, you do know it's in one of these stalls inside the stable. It's probably it's one of the ones down on the end. You didn't actually, like, Arthur took it in for you when you brought Marshall in. But you did see, like, when he walked him in, he kind of took him down back toward the back of the stable to sort of set him up.
Excuse me.
Hello. Oh, well, hey, how are you?
Hi, can you show me where my horse is?
I can absolutely do that. And he sort of sticks the pitchfork that he's using to kind of bale out the hay, and he says, just watch your step over here. I'm just mucking this one out. We're changing out the hay. But yeah, come on, just right down here. And he sort of walks through. He's like, how you doing today? Get along.
She doesn't respond to him.
He looks back, looks like he might say something else, like kind of walks to the end, and in the second to last stall on the left, he says, come my boy, come on. And Marshall, the horse, his head sort of pokes out from inside the stall, and he's like, come on. And he scritches him. Says, here you go, in perfectly good shape. I brushed him down this morning and tidied him up, and I've brushed him again since you brought him back. And So, can I do anything
And
else for you?
do I see the saddle and the saddlebags and stuff?
Yes, they're sort of on a, like, at the very back, there's kind of like a 2 shelves, and they're sort of stacked there at the back.
You did a wonderful job. Thank you for your help.
Oh, you're very welcome. You know, my mama tells me that, a lot of times, and I understand it, these animals are like somebody's family, so you gotta treat them like that. So that's what I try to do.
I mean, it was Marshall and I for a long time, just the two of us.
I can understand that. It's been me and my ma for a long time, just the 2 of us.
Well, you get to watch other people's horses.
That's what I do. I'm, you know, gotta do my ma proud. This is, she takes great pride in this business, and we keep it running. We do a good job.
Do I have loose change on me?
More than likely. Probably
Okay.
have some change,
I
couple
wanna-
bucks.
Tip the kid a quarter, or what would be an appropriate tip amount that's like more than average for the time?
More than average.
Keep in mind that laudanum is 35 cents.
Yes, laudanum is 35 cents. So, I mean, like, 25 cents is pretty good when you're talking, like, you can get a beer for 5 cents. I
Okay.
mean, so,
So I had the right instinct.
yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna tip him a quarter. I'll pull some loose change out and give the kid a quarter.
He kind of grins ear to ear, and he's like, for me? He's like, thanks. He goes, I've been eyeballing this harmonica over at the general store,
Ooh.
and I was a little short, but this'll cover it. Thank you very much.
Well, you do a lot of hard work, so you should treat yourself to something nice.
Well, thank you very much. I'll give my mom the difference. I already had 10 cents. The 10 cents, and I'll get the harmonica with what's left over.
Good. I'm sure your mother can put it to good use as well.
Mm-hmm.
Sure, I'll have to square up with her for the stable use at some point here.
Oh yeah, when you're all said and done, we'll figure that all out when you're ready to go. I mean, you paid up a little bit when you first got here, and you don't worry about that.
Well, I hope I'm gonna make it back. I'm gonna be positive. I'm making it back.
Did you say that out loud?
Yes.
He
Because
looks.
she was about to say, I'm not sure I'm going to make it back, and then realizes what she's about to say, and then, nope, I'm making it back.
He looks at you a little confused for a second, and he's like, "Oh," like it dawns on him, like you and the whole situation. Like, "Oh, yep, nope, that's right." He's like, "I'm sure you'll be fine. You look like someone who knows how to handle yourself. I mean, I'm mostly just good for mucking out stables and, you know, cleaning up around the yard and doing a little manual labor here and there." He's like, "But you look like you know what you're doing. I mean, I've barely even fired one of those things, and those look like real nice. Like,
Can I pat the kid on the shoulder and go, it's a dirty job, but I'm glad that someone like you is doing it?
well, somebody's got to do this kind of work to let you do what you got to do, and you know, I'm very proud of what I'm capable of. Thank you, though."
Good. I'm glad. Some people do jobs they hate just because it pays well, so.
I don't think I'd want to do something I don't like just to get paid more money. I'm pretty happy.
Well, good. Keep your chin up.
I will do that. Thank you very much.
And I think she pulls out a comb, even though like he's already brushed down her horse, but it's almost like she does it to take her mind off of everything for a little bit. And I don't think she starts braiding the mane. That does not sound like something she would do. Never mind on that thought. And then she'll saddle him up and get ready to ride somewhere.
And while you do, like, when you went to do that and get the brush, like, Arthur very, like, deftly just sort of backed away and kind of left you to it without too much, like, just quietly kind of moved away and sort of left you to it. And you hear him just cleaning up and sort of finishing up down at the other end, leaving you to your, you know, peaceful time doing your thing. Seems like he's a very sensitive fellow. He understood.
And I think she just says under her breath, he's a good kid. He'll make he'll make someone happy at some point.
So, Marshall nuzzles you with his head, like starts chewing at your shirt, like smells like the smells for the day, looking to see if you have any treats or anything.
Ooh, I don't think I brought anything. I don't think that was a thought on my mind while coming over here. Well, I'll get you something before we leave, buddy. She like
Just
pats him on the nose.
Puts the head down and shakes the head so the hair like moves back and forth and kind of whaps you on the face a couple times.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't think about it. I've had a lot's been going on. Yeah, I get it. I let you down, bud. I'm sorry. I've been letting a lot of people down. I did something in the heat of the moment that was dumb.
The horse looks at you with like a look like not surprised. This horse
Even
knows
my horse
you.
is judging me. This is the worst.
No, he's not judging so much as it's that look of like, I know you. I know what you do. We've been on this a long time. We understand.
Also, he's a horse. You're projecting.
Mm-hmm.
Shh.
So Baxter, you make your way back to Dr. Peaster's office where Samuel, Marshall, and Sister Michal had just recently left. The door is slightly ajar to let some fresh air in, and you can hear the doctor puttering about inside. There's a few pained groans from someone as the doctor's like, "Oh, suck it up. It's just a bullet wound. You'll be fine. I've mended it up. You're not going to die today." And then you hear him sort of like, sounds like he's starting to sort of clean up a little bit.
I kind of like knock.
Hello.
Greetings.
Oh. Hello there.
Baxter.
Yeah, Baxter. Yes, Dr. Peaster.
Yeah. You're a doctor, right? So
that's what that's yes. The sign says.
Do you also have you dabbled in chemistry?
Oh, I mean, I've done a little bit. And medicine wise and stuff. It's good to have a little background in that sort of thing. Why? What can I do for you?
Well, and I take out the medicine.
Oh boy, I see you've been visiting the medicine show cart on the southwest side of town.
Yes.
How is Mr. Ottermole doing these days?
Well, he's not happy right now.
Oh, you don't? Why? What is the business slow? I hope so.
I heard that his merchandise has been compromised.
Is anybody in danger with this compromised merchandise, like health-wise?
Not really, no.
Huh. Well, then it couldn't have happened to a nicer fellow.
What I want to know is that I highly doubt this validity of any of this.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to know what exactly it is this thing.
Ah, I see. Well, I could take a look at it for you and see what we might find out about this concoction.
All right. Exactly. That was my question for you. Like, are you able to do it?
I mean, if you want to, I've got a vial here. If you want to pour some of that into here, just give me a third to a half of what's in that bottle, and I can see if I can't suss out what exactly Mr. Ottermole gets in his tonics and things of that nature. I'll see if it looks similar to any of the medicines and treatments and things that I'm familiar with.
I fill it to the half and hand it to him.
He takes it. He puts a cork in the bottle, looks at it. He's like, I can look at this evening. I'm just settling these 3 in for the night, and tidying it up. But I can take a look and sort of see what I can come up with. You're going with the others tomorrow morning, correct?
Yes.
All right. I can do that for you.
Perfect.
I actually could sort of appreciate this. I've been, on one hand, wanting to get my hand on some of this just to curiosity's sake, but I didn't really think it appropriate to spend my my hard-earned money and to support his business. You know what I mean?
Well, it is the what do I do? Well, that is the road of capitalism.
I mean, I guess people gotta do what they gotta do to survive, but I don't tend to appreciate when someone preys on people who are desperate. And that's kind of what I think Mr. Ottermole's business is built on, is preying on people who are desperate for an easy solution, if you know what I'm saying.
Exactly.
But I'll take a look at this. You've actually given me something to look forward to. It's been a rough day.
Happy to.
Thank you. Anything else you need, son?
Would you be able to supply our band with medical supplies?
Oh, you are going into. I could provide some bandages and things in case you run into any trouble and you need to do some. Do you have is anybody in your group medically trained? Do they have any medical capabilities?
Our sister, it has some knowledge of the.
All right, I'll put together some. I've got a bag in the back I can put together, and I'll give you some things to take with you, just in case. Now, if you don't need them, you bring them back.
Of course.
All right. Yes, I can do that. That's a very good thought. How old are you?
I'm 15.
Well,
I've been able to handle myself.
See, well, it does seem like it. You've got good head on your shoulders, so sounds good. All right, I'll take care of this, and I'll have y'all set when you're ready to head out in the morning. Just swing by here before you go, and I'll see if I have any answers on this. And he shakes the vial, and I'll have a bag packed with what you need.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Get some sleep tonight. You've got a busy few days ahead of you, from what I hear.
Yeah. Well, good night.
Good night.
Baxter will leave, and just leave the door slightly open.
Okay.
And he will go to the church and go to bed.
All right, so Samuel and Sister Michal, as Baxter heads off to the doctor's office, the two of you follow back in his footsteps and head back to the Rattler's Nest, where he seemed to have been coming from with Mr. McCready. And you find it in as much disrepair as it was in the last time you visited. There may be the pile in the back with the broken furniture and things may be a little bit bigger. But
No, I love what they've done with the place.
But the door is open, and there is a small din of conversation coming from inside.
All right. Samuel will approach the bar.
You see the familiar figure of Arthur sitting at the bar, once again scribbling in his notepad, and the bartender is standing behind the bar, wiping out glasses and pouring drinks. Sees you coming in, kind of raises an eyebrow, nods. Can I do for you?
Whiskey, please, for myself.
Puts down a glass, picks up a bottle of whiskey, uncorks it, and pours you a whiskey. Looks at Sister Michal. Kind of gets a slight, almost grin on his face and says, "What can I do for you, sister?"
You can answer a question, if you wouldn't mind.
Oh, that's what I'm here for. I like answering questions. What's your question?
Reverend Smythe.
You see him roll, his eyes just roll involuntarily, like, yep, what about Reverend Smythe?
Indeed. I was hoping that of anyone in town, you specifically, as the proprietor of, as far as I'm given to understand, the place that he has directed the majority of his vitriol, might know where he keeps himself, where he sleeps when he is in town spreading his message of compassion.
Well, I mean, my best guess if he's staying in town is that crazy old man. I would say he'd probably take a room at the boarding house there, Reedstrom's, more than likely. Doesn't have a lot of friends, I'd say, in town. He's mostly strange. He's a bit intimidating, and that's saying something for myself, because I'd see a lot of people who are considered intimidating people. He's got these crazy eyes, and he'll just sort of stare at you, and kind of like, well, like kind of like you're doing to me right now. And he looks away, breaks eye contact for a second, shakes his head. But he's doesn't like being disrespected. It's offensive to him. He gets very angry if he's not treated with the respect he thinks he deserves. But yeah, he'd come in, he'd make a big old scene, he'd thump that book of his around, yell at people, get in their faces, and then he'd go off and he'd head over to the Silver Shaft Saloon and sort of pull the same kind of shenanigans over there. So, but yeah, if he stayed anywhere, he didn't have a place in town that he calls his own, so he would have stayed at Reedstrom's, or maybe he just camped outside of town, or maybe he's friendly with one of the farmers or something, or I don't know. But that fella, he's got problems. If people got problems, he's got problems.
Sam was going to turn to Arthur and ask, "Hey Arthur, you know anything about Reverend Smythe?"
Hey, I wasn't listening to that. No, not at all. Well, yeah, it was. A lot of what he said about him. I didn't take him for a full-on criminal until, what happened this morning. And I'm hearing stories how he was in, like, not just involved in that, but he was leading that bank robbery and that whole crew of outlaws that came in. But yeah, he I don't know, he seems to attract a lot of really kind of the worst sort of people. Like, I mean, I spend a lot of time in here. I get a lot of ideas for my stories and stuff, and over the last couple of years, him coming in and out, he seemed to sort of some of the worst types that would sort of be here kind of congregate to his sort of belief. Now, like those fellows that helped him rob the bank, like some of them are the ones that sort of came around to his point of view through all his yelling and preaching and stuff like that. So, yeah, he, I don't know. He gives me the, like, heebie-jeebies.
Would any of them have a place where he might have been able to stay? Would any of them have places of their own?
You know, I mean, now that you mention it, I mean, a couple of them, you know, some of them were just, you know, like ne'er-do-wells sort of passed through town, but a couple of them, you know, they might have had they might have let him stay like on their prospecting claims, because a handful of the people that he's sort of been with over the years, like some of his crew, have or had claims and things in the hills and things like that.
That's surely a ride from town, though.
A little bit, but I mean, some of them are further out. Some of them aren't as far as other places outside of town. So, I mean, I'm trying. You know, he might have stayed at Josie's. Josie Jackson, who crazy fellow. He fell in with him real early on, and Smythe might have been maybe been staying there if he's not staying somewhere closer to town. I don't think Josie's place is more than maybe a half a day ride if the conditions are you know, not too bad. Probably a little less.
What time is it now?
So you had all gone out. It was evening, sort of, I believe, when you got back. So it's, you know, getting later toward the, you know, almost time to maybe start settling in and laying down for the night. So I'd say maybe like 6-7 o'clock at night.
Any other interesting characters in his retinue?
Well, you know, remember Boston? He shot Arkansas right here in this right points.
I do recall.
Difficult to forget.
I know that it's rumored he's kind of joined up with Smythe, and
Boston, that is, not Arkansas, correct?
Oh, no, Arkansas is dead.
We can but hope.
I mean, I hope. You don't think? No, nah. So no. But yeah, no. Boston is definitely been sort of sidled up and sort of joined up with Smythe in recent years. There's this other fellow. I think his name was O'Neill. He used to be a soldier before he sort of turned to a life of crime, and he's been seen in the company of Smythe. And there's a couple others. There's Arizona and Billy Stevens, but I hear he's in the doctor's office because he got shot because he didn't get out of the bank with the rest of them. But those are a few of the names that I heard.
Have we heard Arizona before?
I don't think you've heard. I think you might have from Billy. Like, he might have mentioned
Yeah,
Arizona.
I think in passing he mentioned Arizona. Because I remember going, oh, another state.
This Arizona character.
Yep.
Other than being another glorious state of the United States, what do you got on him?
Arizona. Let's see. Arizona. Where's my note? Well, he likes to steal other people's cattle. That's kind of where he went wrong, was starting to cattle rustle and things like that. He's a big fellow. Not stupid, but not super smart. He's pretty solid in a hand-to-hand fight. Like, he actually has gone a few rounds in the boxing ring back down by the blacksmith shop when they held fights when he used to be in town more often. And he'd hold his own pretty good. He's, from what I hear, pretty good shot with a pistol. Not so good with a rifle, but just a bit, just ill-tempered, I'd say. Ill-tempered was always his thing.
Seems like the lot of them are ill-tempered.
That's probably what brings them all together. They got ill tempers at other people, so they all agree and they what's the word? Commiserate with each other about it.
Well, that's I guess very helpful to us.
Hmm.
I'll be sure to bring you a story when we return.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Just remember, you saw what Boston did. If you see Boston and he's got his guns, try not to be the one that's at the other end of Boston's guns, okay? Because I kind of like y'all. Y'all are real nice and real friendly, and I'd like to hear your stories. And I don't want to hear about you ending up at the wrong end of Boston's pistols.
We'll make every attempt to not do that.
That's probably very, very, very good idea, my friend. Very good idea.
All right, gentlemen, and Samuel will overpay for his drink.
Bartender gives you a grin and a nod. Thank you.
And Samuel will drink it, and we shall be on our way.
Arthur's like, but be careful, please. Remember what I said about Boston.
Have a good day, Arthur. And I'm going to pay as if I'd ordered a drink.
You get that sort of half grin again, like he can't really he's trying to get a read. He's usually pretty good at reading people, and he's just like, like I don't know about this one.
Keep twisting, Junior. All you're getting is clicks.
he nods, and he will take the money off the bar and cleans the glasses up, washes them out, starts putting them away as the two of you sort of exit the bar and walk away. What do you want to do?
So, we can ask at the boarding house if the good Reverend has ever stayed there, and inquire as to where Josie Jackson's plot would be relative to the village and the fort.
That's true. Might as well.
All right, so you head back for the boarding house to talk to Mr. Reedstrom. Okay. And I'll ask Marshall, when you're all done taking care of Marshall, what are you doing?
Probably what I'm doing, I'll probably hitch him out in front of the boarding house and just probably go up to my room.
Okay. So the marshal's going to turn in. Baxter, you head back to the church. You find that the priest is not there currently, but the door is unlocked, and your room actually is has been tidied up from the night before, and like the bed has been sort of turned down. Looks like the priest kind of cleaned up and set everything up for you if you were coming back another night. What do you do, Baxter? Are you just going to head off to sleep for the night?
Baxter just goes to sleep.
Okay. So, as Marshall and Baxter sort of turn in for the night, Samuel and Sister Michal, you make your way back to the boarding house. You see the familiar horse, Marshall, tied up outside. And
if it's getting dark, he might be hard to see because he is a black horse.
It's true, but they can pick him out. Like there are some lanterns and things like that, so they see him as they're coming up the street. And the lights
also
are on.
Also, the smell of feces.
It's fair. The lights are on inside the boarding house, and you can see a few people having a later dinner, and Mr. Reedstrom is busily like serving at the tables and things with Julia not being there. He seems like he's got a little bit more to do. But when he sees you, he turns and looks and he gives a wave. Hello. Hi, how are you?
Good. Do you require any assistance?
Oh. He looks around, kind of takes it in, thinks, I think I'm well for right now. There was a bit of a dinner rush, but I took care of it. But if I do, I'll definitely let you know. I appreciate that.
I would be only too happy to help.
You look, are you both, do you want something to eat, to drink? You look, you've had a long day.
If you might have a moment to sit, rest your weary feet with us, and eat dinner of your own, that would be lovely.
Oh, everyone seems like they're well off. I can grab us something, and bring it over. Yes, I haven't had anything. I've been so busy with Julia having been taken to the doctor. I've, only took a short break to go and check in to make sure she was going to be okay, and she sent me on my way to come back and make sure that everything's going to be fine and make sure that people get fed and taken care of. That's my Julia. She worries about everyone else before she worries about herself.
Indeed.
And he quickly putters, like, through the door of the kitchen. You hear him clanking around inside, and he shortly comes back with 3 bowls of, like, stew, kind of balanced, and kind of goes to an empty table and kind of puts them out and looks around. Something to drink.
I would greatly appreciate some water.
Okay. And he looks at Samuel. You, sir?
Yes, water.
Oh.
Would be nice.
Excellent. So he comes back with 2 glasses of water and just a small glass. It looks like he has like a bourbon, and he puts it down and he kind of does a quick look around, quickly goes over and fills a couple glasses at another table, and then comes back and sits himself down. You never realize how much your feet hurt until you take a load off, duh? Am I right? I'm back.
So true.
I love the internet. So he sat down and he said, you never know until you take a load off. He sits down in his seat.
Yeah. Samuel just said, we hate to trouble you, but we have a few questions for you.
Oh, don't trouble. I'm grateful to those of you that stepped in and made sure that Julia got out of that horrible situation at the bank. Anything I can do to help.
Yes, well, we're trying to get to the bottom of this situation as it's still ongoing, unfortunately.
Yes, that poor little girl. She's missing now.
Yes. The Reverend Smythe. Surely you know of him?
Oh, indeed. He's, very loud and very boisterous and very insane.
So we've heard. Has he ever stayed here?
Early on, yes, occasionally he would rent a room here. I hate renting a room to him, but business is business, and at least when he's sleeping, he's quiet.
But not in recent years.
No, earlier this year, he did stay for a night, but he doesn't stay that often. He likes to sort of make a splash and then go about on his way and then come back and do it again. And he points to where you could see there's a bullet hole in the ceiling by the door. One time he walked in here, and it was quite the good dinner crowd, and everyone was laughing and joking and making a lot of noise, and he shot a hole in my ceiling to get everyone's attention. Can you believe that?
And he didn't even have the decency to repair it.
No, he stood there and he got their attention, and then he started yelling about debauchery and vile this and that, and I didn't even get most of it because I was yelling back at him about the hole in my ceiling, and he told me I needed to repent my ways because everyone in this town is sinners, and He had that stupid big book of his that I can't stand. Smells terrible.
Like
Terrible
what?
how?
No, it's just like old, like it's been. He's had it a long time. Maybe it's gotten soaked through with water too many times and it stinks, or I don't know what else. But he just carries it around and waves it around, and it's just. I mean, you'd think at this point he'd replace it with the new version.
Or at least a clean one.
I would wish.
Some people haven't heard that cleanliness is next to godliness.
You know, he came through another time and he smashed up half my bar with the stupid riding crop he keeps in his boot.
What a thoroughly unpleasant man.
Very much so. You know, I did see the cover of that book one time, and it's something like, the Mormons or something is it etched in the cover, in the leather. But I don't know. I don't know other Mormons like him.
Mormon. I could try and make a history roll?
If you want to.
See if I know anything about the Book of Mormon? That's a first aid roll, but it was a success, so thanks for that.
Yeah, you are not sure.
Yeah, I get a splinter in my finger, and I successfully removed that, but I don't think of anything about the Book of Mormon.
I mean, you've probably heard of it, but yeah, you don't know anything specific in regards to it.
Strange.
Says, I don't know much about it. I attend services here, and I'm more of a Christian fellow myself, but I don't know. He's pretty out there, if you ask me.
Just given to understand they mostly kept to Utah.
I've heard that too.
I don't suppose he had a particular room that he would insist on staying in, or any such?
Oh no, usually I'd put him up with whatever was open. He wasn't picky in the nature of that. A bed, I think, was a bed. I got the feeling that he spends many a night sleeping in much more uncomfortable circumstances than one of my very fine rooms, which, by the way, neither of you are staying at my comfortable establishment. I could get you rooms at a good rate. Maybe?
But they're not free.
No, they're not free. I mean, a man has to make a living. Though, the dinner is on the house for what you did today.
That is very charitable of you.
Oh, I do my best.
I would be happy to take you up on that offer, but unfortunately my few worldly possessions are back at the church, so...
That's fine. The father is a good man, good fellow. If you're staying at the church, you're in good hands.
We can but hope.
Well, you are in the house of the Lord, aren't you? So, I mean, you're in the best protected, of everybody in town, safest place you could be, right?
We can only hope. What was the name of the house or field. What was
House,
That-
which
the one that the Reverend could possibly be staying in?
Josie Jackson's plot.
That one.
yes.
Do you know anything about this plot? Or said Josie Jackson.
Whew, that fellow. Right out of his mind, if you ask me. Oof, completely crazy. Oh, yes.
Starting to see a theme here.
Yes, no, but he used to have, it was, just outside of town, maybe about, 2 hours or so, I think, north. He had a plot, it's a little location, just off, what they call the Outlaw Trail. I think you'd know it. I think you might have taken it today to head up out of town to follow those bastards. But yes, so just a small place, and I don't think he could afford much bigger, and I think he kind of let it lapse. Obviously wasn't very good at the follow through and the hard work that it takes to really make something like that sort of productive.
Interesting. Did we go there?
You did not go to his plot, but when you were riding up the trail, I mean, you would have noticed kind of like side, like not actual roads, but maybe like side paths that maybe were well worn that would maybe lead off to plots and things kind of in the low rise of the hills closer to town.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm. But you didn't have any reason to sort of investigate those when you went up.
Two hours.
I mean, we possibly could stop by on the way in the morning.
Or risk it in the dead of night.
With just the two of us?
No, you're right. That would be absurd.
If anything, I think we're better off as a group. A whole group, for once.
Wise words. You'll be a doctor yet.
Oh, you're going to be a doctor? Oh,
Sure.
Huh.
If this all pans out, maybe.
Very good. Oh, one moment. I'm going to go take care of... Gets up, and he sort of scuttles over to one of the tables, leans in and is talking quietly with a couple of the customers as he starts to sort of collect some plates and things.
In a especially suspicious manner, or?
Oh, no, just like you get the feeling he's just, being polite, like quiet conversation as he takes the plates away. Yeah.
Oh, like, how did you like everything?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Lance,
Will it be cash or credit?
I would say like the read that you've gotten on Lance is he is very much what he seems. He's very just probably one of the nicer people in town.
Yeah. And I'm very glad to not have that interpretation disrupted.
All right, shall we be on our way then?
Yes, let's get some rest at long last.
We probably have a long day ahead of us anyway.
Absolutely.
Another one.
So the two of you head out from Reedstrom's boarding house and head back down the main road back toward the church where you're staying.
Mm-hmm.
The very, very far northeastern edge of town. Takes a few minutes. When you get back down to, as you're approaching the church, there's a couple of candles lit sort of in the front entryway, and you can see a figure sort of moving about inside. And if you enter, you can see that it is the town's priest sort of tidying up and putting some things away. And he looks up when the door opens, and he turns and he smiles and he says, "Ah, hello, hello. You know
Hello,
this.
Father.
Hello, sister, Mr. Smith. Welcome. I believe your young friend I checked in. He seems to be sleeping already. How are you?"
As well as can be expected in these troubling times.
Indeed. I have been saying a prayer all day after everything that happened this morning.
That is greatly appreciated.
I try to make sure that my flock is taken care of, and while you are staying here, you are part of my flock. Can I do anything for you?
I don't believe so. I think we will be just going straight to bed.
Yes, I was going to turn in shortly myself, so I won't keep you then. You look very tired. You've had a long day.
Rest well, Father.
And you as well. Good night. If you need anything, you know where to find me. And he will let you walk off to your rooms down the small hallway.
Yeah. Go to my room, unlock the door, get in, have a panic attack.
How's the panic attack? Like, you just kind of freak out a little bit and sort of... What?
Yeah.
Okay.
What the fuck is going on? There was a dude with his tongue cut out.
It's true. And Samuel, when you open the door, you do see your bed is also... Looks like it has been changed and turned down. And you see Baxter, who is, I believe, sound asleep in the bed across the way.
Well, then Samuel's just going to pass out. Just collapse.
All right, so everybody goes to bed for the evening. After you all go to bed for the evening...
Oh, I was hoping.
Oh, where is this? I need everyone to... please, everyone roll me a power roll.
That's it. My character just isn't sleeping anymore for the rest of the campaign. Off this noise.
Oh, boy. Oh, boy.
I wish I had an advantage die. My character is literally going to go insane. What part of I only has started with 30 sanity, don't you understand?
I'm not doing this on purpose. All right, so Sister Michal, so you, as you sleep during the night, you have a dream. Once again, I believe last time you dreamed you were submerged under a dark body of water.
Yeah, dark ocean.
So you have the same dream, like you sort of wake into the same dream that you had, and it's dark, but you can look up through the surface and see the night sky. It's dimly lit by moon and stars, and there's a whisper, like almost like a voice that seems to taunt you, but you can't like understand the words. You get the sense of it. You just feel this deep sense of sorrow that's pervading your like insides. Roll me a sanity roll.
Happily.
I never get to do enough of these. Oh, nice. So, in the morning when you wake, like you wake from this dream startled and you feel that kind of deep sadness feeling that you felt. But, otherwise you don't feel any like repercussions from the dream. You just feel maybe a little less than like you didn't get as good a night's sleep, but not terrible.
Yeah, I was expecting that anyway. I'm
now,
hunting a murderer in the morning.
It's true. Now, my other friends. So, Baxter, last night you slept very well. You had a dreamless sleep. But tonight you you find yourself in this dark, deep water, submerged. You try to look up, and you can just make out the sky, but the stars are very dim. You're so deep down in this dark, murky water. And Marshall and Samuel, you are having a very, very similar dream. Being in dark, dark water, the stars blinking out. In fact, as you all are dreaming and looking around, you see each other sort of down here deep in the water. And you see a figure like further up near the surface that you almost think might be Sister Michal, but it's hard to tell. And you can hear voices whispering. You hear them say, "The sleeper stirs. Let the way be opened. Aya, Cthulhu, Flakan." And
We all float down here, Georgie.
yes. And each of you feels this awful dread inside of you. It sort of freezes you, and you can't move, and you feel yourselves being pulled up through this icy cold water, upward to this black void as the stars are winking out one after the other. And you just feel this sort of like everything is just the stress, and everything seems futile. And I need each of you to roll me a sanity roll.
Oh, what a surprise.
Oh no.
You ever drive a character insane? This is going to be the first time.
I mean, it can happen. So, as you are...
Oh no.
As you all sort of get sucked up into this darkness, and you can see the surface of this body of water as you're pulled away, you each see 3 bodies floating in the water, and you realize that each one of you is one of these bodies. So let's see. Samuel, since you made the save. All right. So Samuel, you wake with a start, just soaking wet, and you kind of just involuntarily like sort of fall out of the bed onto the floor and slam to the ground. But you look around, kind of like just taking it in, like, what? So you take 2 points of sanity damage. Meanwhile, let's see. Oh. Yeah, okay. So in the bed across the way, you could see Baxter is sort of like kind of thrashing back and forth for a second, and then Baxter sits bolt upright, and you give an involuntary sort of scream as you sit up, Baxter, looking
and his
around.
Head turns 360 degrees.
Yeah, right. No, it doesn't turn 360 degrees, but yeah, you sort of give a scream in fright as you sort of turn and look around and are trying to sort of figure out where you are, because you're still sort of kind of in the dream as you come awake. And let's see. Okay. But you make eye contact with Samuel, and you two are sort of just staring at each other. You both know separately that you just had these dreams, and you're just kind of looking at each other in shock across the room. You do anything?
Rough night.
Yeah. Jesus, what was that?
Yeah, I'm asking myself the same question. Did you have a dream about water?
Yeah.
There's something going on in
Bodies.
this. Yes. That's very disturbing. There's something going on in this town, and I don't like it.
Meanwhile, somewhere across town, Marshall, you sit bolt upright, leaping from the bed, like spinning around in terror for a second. sort of trying to catch your breath as you still sort of have that sensation like you have water in your lungs, and then you realize that you're breathing air and you can breathe air, and you just sort of look around the room as it comes back to you, like solid floor, solid walls around you, the bed. What are you doing in this moment?
Probably just sitting in bed. Is there a wash basin of water?
Yes.
I'm going to dump it out. I don't want to be anywhere near water.
Where do you dump it out?
Just on the ground.
You pour water on the ground. The water sort of pools and starts
Seeps
to
through
seep
the wooden
through the
floor.
wooden floor. You do this.
She's not thinking about that. She just doesn't want to be around water. I mean, I guess I could have tossed it out the window, but it makes more sense that she just, like, threw her arm against the basin and knocked it off of the...
That's fair. So you leaped out of bed, but now you tip the water out of the basin. You sit back down on the bed, and just this, like this dream, this dark dream, this unsettling feeling, like this is exactly what you felt the day before. The day before when you saw someone throw themselves in the trough across the street. And while you don't hear that same commotion that you heard when that occurred, you do hear the sound of horses, multiple horses. It's somewhat distant, but getting closer outside.
I don't like that. Good thing my horse is hopefully still tied outside. Should probably, like, get ready for the day real quick.
Mm-hmm.
Probably doesn't even bother tucking in her shirt. And mounts up on her horse, assuming it's outside.
Okay, so you dress quickly, run downstairs, and go outside to get to your horse?
Yes.
Okay, as you come outside of the Reedstrom's boarding house, and you start to cross the porch toward where your horse is tied up, you look to your left, and you see riding up the main road are approximately 24 men and women on horseback with various like pistols in their holsters or long guns holstered in like saddle holsters, riding up. And you recognize riding at the front George Martin and the two workers, his ranch hands, Cliff and Hoss, who had gone out with you at the posse. So Martin is riding up with a crew of about 24 people coming up behind him.
Of fucking course he is. I don't really want to deal with him right now.
Well, that's good, because I think in this moment we'll wait to deal with George Martin and his posse of 24 people for our next session.
I meant regardless, but okay.
So, but it is 9:02, so we will bring up what happens with George Martin and the posse.
Shot him. Should have just shot him.
I mean, Baxter did
There's
ask him to
still
go and get
time.
people. So, but yeah, so that as we fade out this week with this large group of riders coming into the town of Shade. These must be members of the Vigilance Committee coming en masse to help their leader, Mr. Martin. We're going to go around and
Can I ask you a question quick?
You can.
Did I also lose 5
Yes,
sanity?
yes, you did also lose the 5 sanity.
That's what I assumed.
Yes, indeed.
Down to 19, guys. This is only going to get worse from here.
Oof.
I only started with 30.
I
I've
know.
lost 11.
Hey, this is Cthulhu, so
Yeah,
I'm
I wasn't
still at
real
60.
happy with that roll.
the 14-year-old still has a better grasp on reality than the Marshal. But it tracks, because he's young. He hasn't seen as much. He's seen a lot, but he hasn't seen as much. So we will go around, and if anybody has some plugs or anything they'd like to share, we'll go with that. So I think we will start with Theater Nerd. I'm going to throw you under the bus and make you go first.
Okay, hi, my name's Theater Nerd. It's not really bus throwing. I'm prepared now. I'm a professional. I've done this enough.
See, I knew that.
You can find me the best places on Twitter. Possibly you'll see me on Wednesday over on channel Other Doc, our our GM is dealing with health issues. It kind of tracks. It was kind of a jumbled thought. We're hoping to have session 0 and do a giant time skip for our second arc with our teenage superheroes. Hopefully that'll be next on Wednesday. Otherwise I might run a GM-less game. We'll see what happens. I really want to get back to masks. It's been a few weeks. Then I will be running Blades in the Dark, which I'm having a lot of fun with. But the best play that's on, it's opposite Mondays of this show. And then I'll be back here in 2 weeks. That's the only stuff I'm in that's streamed. I'm in a couple of other things, but best place is just follow me on Twitter. Yep, which is below. I mean, it's my username for all my social media.
Very good. And how about you, Joanna? What do you have going on?
I'm Joanna. You can follow me on Twitter at ThriftBirds. Things have kind of slowed down in the acting department in the local area, but if you look on YouTube, you can find my performances on the Discovery Channel show These Woods Are Haunted, where I was a ghost.
Yes!
That is cool.
And or the episode of the Alaska Triangle, where I was a ghost.
I'm sensing a theme. Do you feel like you're getting typecast as a ghost?
Fingers crossed.
Well, I guess there could be worse things to be. Keep my...
All right. And how about Ray?
Yep. I'm Ray, and you can find me on Twitter with the link provided. I'm trying to keep busy. Started streaming again at Tankstein here on Twitch. Other than that, I am working away at various other projects that I can't really give updates on right now. So, but that's it.
Those are always interesting projects.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent. And Taru, what do you got going on?
Oh, like nothing going on. I'm still waiting for my internet to come in. That has been halted right now because of the situation in the world right now. Still in a hiatus on streaming stuff. But once I'm able to, I might start streaming Mountain Blade 2 Bannerlord. And that's about it.
Very good. And
you can find me anywhere as an Arctopy on Twitter, on Twitch.
Excellent. Follow the links. I put them in chat. And I'm Jeanette. You can find me here. We'll be back in 2 weeks on Monday at 7 p.m. for more of this. And then every other Sunday at 4:30 p.m. Eastern, we do a Skull and Shackles D&D 5e campaign. And every other Tuesday, we do a Call of Cthulhu Shadows over Stillwater campaign at 7 p.m. Eastern. And otherwise, you can find me on Scotty_Hood's channel on Saturdays at 3 o'clock, and at 7 o'clock every other Saturday I do 2 different D&D games over there. So that's kind of what I'm up to right now. And I'm thinking about trying to do a couple one-shots with, I've been home a lot more now for reasons. I don't know. Imagine that. I don't know. I've heard it a lot from people, but I might try to throw together a couple one-shots. Who knows? We'll see. So we may be on a couple more times than we usually are during the week. Other than that, I enjoyed this as I always do. I missed our session last time, so I'm glad we had to have some more fun. And I'm looking forward to what happens next time.
Yeah, thank you so much for running.
Thank you all for playing. I enjoy this. Have a good time. And thank everybody for watches and who watches later on. I've got to get caught up on posting some things to YouTube. It's been a busy month, but take care of yourselves. Stay inside.
Wash your hands.
Yeah, wash your hands, do the whole thing,
Defend. Again,
hygiene.
bacteria.
Exactly. Good hygiene practices, and just, we'll be here. So take care. Everybody have a good week. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.